Ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Say hi, Tube.
Hi, Tube.
Say what up, Tube.
Hi.
Hey, Tube. All right, here we go. And last but certainly not least, you were warned there would be 3 starts.
Here we
And
go.
this is the third one. This is the most important one. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of
Business
Bros.
I love it.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? Hernan Cias here, host of the Business Bros podcast, along with my co-host,
The insurance bro, James Cias with Pipeline Insurance. And as always, well, it's been a little bit, but you know what? Today, we're back. We are excited. We have another very special guest for all of you today. Nancy, you ready for this one? Here we go.
All
Check
right,
this one
I'm
out.
ready.
Small business owners like us know that we can't do it on our own. To be truly successful in business, in fact, to be a true business owner at all, we must build strong, independent teams that operate autonomously and allow us, as business owners, to work on our business, not in our business. Today's guest brings value in the form of executive coaching, helping startup CEOs take their businesses to the next level. Keep a special ear out if you're in the nonprofit space, because today's guest is specializing in those nonprofits and is passionate about helping these charitable organizations provide all kinds of services to the community. From Proactive Leadership Group, please welcome Nancy Batterman.
Very nice.
He's good at what he does, huh?
Yeah, you did that great.
Like
wow,
I said,
I'm
it's the only time I get to talk during the show, so, you know,
It's your big
I take
chance.
advantage of it. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
And we got some nonprofit questions coming up here. But ladies and gentlemen, let me remind
Speaking
you
of
guys.
nonprofits.
Speaking of nonprofits, 365 shoes was the goal. We met and exceeded that goal.
Wow.
Tim Yates and La Jolla Keller Williams, right?
Yeah.
Picked up a donation today for some more shoes. So
Yep.
thank you guys very much. We really appreciate all the donations you guys have had. If you have any last minute pairs before the end of the year, please let us know. 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. He'll ride over on his Harley,
Thank you guys
pick them
very
up,
much.
and there
Sorry
you go.
about that.
Sorry. He'll pick them up from you on that Harley. By the way, the guy's also in insurance. So if you guys have any insurance needs, or maybe you want to add insurance into your business, you guys got to find out how to do that. It's pretty simple. It's really easy. We do all the heavy lifting for you. James@csfirst.com or 619-884-0045 is his number. Lastly, we got... damn, I forgot what I'm saying already. See? Lastly, we got show sponsors.
Show sponsors. That's it. That's it. We got you.
CasanovafishTacos.com is where you need to go for all your catering needs. Look, figuring out what to eat at your parties, whether it's a wedding, whether it's a birthday, whatever it is, food is important. Fish tacos are amazing, especially from CasanovafishTacos.com. Let them know that the Business Bros sent you so that you can get that little extra bonus. All right, you ready to rock and roll?
Taco Club. Yum.
He's singing the parody we made. We made a parody for Casanova Fish Tacos.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. All right.
It was. All right, Nancy.
We is ready.
All right.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into this space of coaching?
Well, so I've spent the last 34 years in the nonprofit space at the same company. And so I thought, gosh, if I'm going to make a change, I better do it soon.
Yeah.
So I decided, and I had been working actually with Proactive Leadership Group. I was working with Mike Morrow, who's based in Dallas, and he was my executive coach and working with the nonprofit I was with. And he approached me and said, hey, have you ever thought about doing executive coaching? And I was like, no. He's like, I think you might want to think about it. And so I saw him over the Labor Day weekend, and he said, I think you should think about this and come work on my team. And as you can tell, I said yes.
You said yes.
I said yes.
So tell me, what's been different between what you were doing at the nonprofits before and what you're doing now? There's a lot. There's got to be a lot of experience that you've taken from 34 years of working in that space to now coaching people in that space.
So I'd say, yeah. So a lot of that is the same. Probably the biggest part, and which you won't be surprised for somebody that's kind of doing their own business, is the selling part.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the new piece for me. I mean, I've done fundraising and raised money for obviously Options for All. So I've done that, but now I have to kind of sell myself. And that's a little different.
What do you think has been your biggest hiccup so far? I mean, it's only been 2 months on that front, but
Well, so I would say the whole talking about money and fees part of it is the big hiccup, is kind of understanding, how to assess my value and then communicate that and to really talk about it. So that's been the challenge.
That's been kind of a toughie, huh? There's a lot
Yeah.
of people. I mean, and you're not the only one. And you've raised funds before. It's not
Yeah.
like you haven't asked for money in the past.
Exactly, but it was for an organization, and this feels a little different.
Oh, tell me a little. I want to dig a little deeper there, because there's a lot of people who really do struggle with that. I've struggled with that myself. Like getting, in any point, I can come perform the service or give the product, and then it comes time to collect the funds, right?
Mm-hmm.
To actually get paid for the service or product that you have, and that has always been one of those awkward moments. I feel like, I'll give you an example. When we were in the computer business, we would go and repair a computer. We'd charge, $150, and it was like 40 minutes worth of work. Right. And sometimes we'd go in, it'd be a quick thing. And we would feel bad about charging what we were charging. I was like, come on, it was easy. And my dad gave me one of the greatest pieces of advice that time. He said, look, they're not paying you because you pushed the button. They're paying you because you knew which buttons to push.
Yeah.
And that was a big, to me, like
Very wise.
like an aha moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ding, ding. Exactly. So what do you think is stopping you right now, or at least giving you that hiccup?
Well, I think it's really a change in mindset. You're right. I have 34 years of nonprofit experience, and I want to help nonprofits be successful and kind of be able to take the lessons that I've learned and apply, and then help them apply them so that maybe don't have to learn those lessons.
So I don't step in the same hole.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just kind of, I think, trying to change my mindset. And I think I'm getting there, but it's still the tricky part.
Well, let's get into some of these nonprofits then. Let's talk a little bit about the value that you bring, because
Okay.
that's honestly the most important part of coaching, right? In your 34 years of experience, what's been your probably biggest struggle, and how'd you guys overcome it as an organization? I'm sure it's probably going to be something about fundraising, but
Actually, for us, it was really about growth. We wanted to grow the organization. So we were based in San Diego and started to grow in other geographic areas. And because I had been with the organization since its conception, or very soon after that, I really felt that it was hard for me to step back as the organization grew larger and larger and have my role change. And that I really struggled with that for quite a while. And because I want to help organizations that have this desire to grow, and that seems to be a common obstacle, particularly for CEOs and executive directors who are the founders of their organization or have been there for a very long time, is for them to really be able to step back and do the things that they need to do, but also give their employees the opportunities to spread their wings and demonstrate that they can do what they've been hired to do.
that sounds very familiar to pretty much any budding business.
Yep.
When I talk to different, I mean, there's two different types of businesses, right? There's people who are self-employed, and then there's people who have a true business. And I think what you're describing right there has that different, that person who's working, doing everything themselves, but doesn't quite trust their employees or their staff to do something, because they have that thing in their mind where nobody can do it as good as I can, right? Nobody cares as much as I care. Nobody will do this the way I want it to be done. How did you get over that?
Worked with an executive coach that really kind of helped me. And it's nice because when you, to have somebody that you can talk with and share exactly how you're feeling. And when you're the CEO of a company or an executive director of a nonprofit, you don't really have a lot of people to talk to and to get advice from. And so it's nice to have an executive coach who is that sounding board, and you can say, hey, does this make sense? So you have somebody to ask questions to. The other thing is when you're the big cheese in an organization, no one says, hey, you really shouldn't be doing that, so you need an outside person who can say, hey, this is what you really need to work on. This is what you should be doing differently. And so I think for all of those reasons, it was great for me to have an executive coach, and I learned a lot from that. And so I want to help others to see, the benefits and be able to just help their organizations be more successful, because if they're more successful, They're doing more of what they want to be doing, helping more people, serving more people. And I really believe in that.
That's a huge plus. Because, you know, when anybody, I'll give you an example. My dad, hey, Ham, do you have the Pie Creed, the short little condensed version?
Oh, the short condensed version?
I know you have it somewhere.
1
second. You'll come back to me.
Come back to you.
So I'll give you an example. My dad has this thing that he's been basically writing his whole life. He calls it the personal integrity creed. And basically it encompasses like what we believe in. It's how we were raised. You know, it's the whole, you know, if you look at our slogan on our podcast, it's to be of service to others. It's just taking that, you know, when nobody's looking, what is the right thing to do? And it's in our human nature to want to help other people, to want to be that helping hand.
You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
The purpose of the personal integrity creed is to inspire, motivate, and create opportunities for people to serve and prosper.
Right? And that's but oftentimes that is what we start off with in a nonprofit, and it gets put to the side because you have so much going on. Now it becomes, how do I make sure that I raise enough funds? How do I make sure that, you know, people are doing what they're supposed to be doing? I have this drive going on, and we kind of lose track of some of those things. And you were describing something that I think happens in a lot of companies when you have a CEO that has nothing but yes men around them. And that can be problematic because you can't solve, Einstein said, Ham, you can't,
problems cannot be solved by the same level of thinking that created them.
And that happens a lot in an organization. And when you have an executive coach there, right, what is it? Give me some of the things that you're walking through, some of these people who are in a position where they're trying to expand. Like, you know, if you have a story or something like that where they're stuck in what they don't even see as a closed box. They're doing their day-to-day, right? They're getting things done, but their organization has plateaued. They haven't been able to go to the next level, and they can't seem to understand why. Do you have anything like that?
Let's see. Gosh, I could.
It's kind of a tough question, so that's why I was like, I didn't know if that was
yeah,
gonna be...
it's like something that pops right in my mind.
Maybe some of the more common things that you see where people get stuck.
Yeah.
So I would say, you know, doing the things that you feel comfortable doing. So if it's being out with the staff or the parts of the job that you really like. So for me, I really like the program development, the starting up of new locations. And so I did a lot of that. But then at some point, as the CEO of an organization, that wasn't really my role anymore. My role was to do more fundraising and to be out and in front of the organization in the community, because we're large Options for All is a large $18 million nonprofit in San Diego that very few people know about outside of the disability arena where its primary focus is. So, you know, and it was nice to have an executive coach to say, hey, these are the 5 things you should be doing. All of that other stuff, if you're doing it, you stop. So it was really helpful to have somebody who really kind of called you out and said, these are the things you need to be doing. Stop doing those other things.
Fine-tuning your well, like in business, we talk about it a lot as your money-making activities.
Right.
There's a lot of things that keep you busy.
Exactly.
But there are a few things that keep you growing.
Definitely.
And that's definitely a big thing because, you know, the nonprofit space is definitely uncharted territory for me, but it's something that we have been talking about kind of stepping a little more into. I don't know if we're going to start a nonprofit. Like I was telling you, the personal integrity creed, my dad kind of wants it to be something where, remember, this is why you got into it. And it's kind of like we want to be able to brand nonprofits with like, we remember that we have this personal integrity, that this is what we believe in, that yes, we're trying to solve cancer or, you know, help kids, needy homes, whatever it is, but we believe in this type of creed. This is our core concept. How do you help? Well, I shouldn't like throw big questions like that at you. They're kind of tough, but
go ahead.
But I'm going to go ahead anyways.
See,
is there any time where you meet somebody who's just overwhelmed? They're like, I got into this with great intentions, but now like there's so much going on and I don't know what to do.
Sure, absolutely. It happens all the time. So, and it's really, finding that focus. And part of it's interesting, the model that I executive coach on is based upon the Rockefeller Habits and John D. Rockefeller and the disciplines and strategies that made him so successful, a couple 200 years ago.
Quite some time now.
Yeah, exactly. Late 1800s. So really using those strategies. So to really sit down and talk about annual planning and priorities and what are your annual goals for the year, and then quarterly priorities, and then the discipline and the focus, and then communication within your organization, particularly as you're a growing organization, to be able to really help them stay focused, and then to communicate. If you have a growing organization, communication becomes more and more and more important. And so those are all areas where people can stumble. And I know that because they're all areas where I stumbled. And so, I think it helps when you can say, hey, you know what, I made the same mistake. I did the same thing.
Yeah, those mistakes, doesn't matter your industry.
No,
we all tend to make
true.
them. They're things that, like, I don't know. Tell me in your experience. I'll tell you in my experience. I tend to make the mistakes when I haven't really. I'm like impulsive on something. When I'm impulsive on something, and I'm like, "That's a great idea. We should do that." Boom, and we jump into it, and then I realize, well, I had 2 feet in front of the other feet, and I thought, I don't know what was going on. I trip and fall, and then I have to step back. And sometimes it's one of those things where when you step back, you're taking 4 or 5 steps back just to recoup where you're going. But I do it with good intention.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, I did it because I wanted to improve whatever XYZ, whether it was an employee situation or whether it was, the bottom line or whatever we were doing. But it's always where you fumble, where it's impulsive. When you sit down with a client, how much flexibility are we leaving them to that creative impulse, and how much of it are we trying to tie down on, look, this is your overall intention. This is your goal. This is your why. This is what 2020 is about. Ultimately, this is what we want to finish. Let's break that down into quarters. Ultimately, this quarter, this is the goal that we want. How about let's break that down this month, and then this week, and then today I need to get this one thing done.
Exactly. 13 weeks in a quarter, so that's 13 steps to get to the end of that quarter, so that you're really focusing and helping your organization focus. So that's really an important part of it, because it all happens under good intentions. And sometimes it's, like you said, an opportunity to step back and say, and that's why I think the annual planning and the quarterly focus on priorities is really important, and that's communicated so everyone in an organization, particularly in a growing organization, are focused on the same things, because you can have one area go in one direction and another doing something else. And so really help through this process for organizations or businesses, really, to look at an annual planning process where they decide kind of what part of the process is your 10-year big, hairy, audacious goal. What do you want to accomplish 10 to 30 years out there is where we start. And then you look at your 3 to 5 year targets, and then, okay, to get there, what do we have to accomplish this year? And then from there, okay, if this is what we want to accomplish this year, what do we have to do in this next quarter? And so really take it piece by piece and have a really thorough plan. And what's exciting about this process is the strategic plan, 1 page.
Ooh,
I know.
Simple. Humans, we like simplicity.
Exactly. Well, in the nonprofit world, our strategic plans are these 35, 40-page documents we spend months putting together. We put them in a ring binder, put them on a shelf.
And that's where they sit.
And that's where
nobody looks at them again.
Exactly. And that's what I so valued about this process, is that it was a 1-page strategic plan. We talked about it every week. And so the plans and the priorities all were working together. So you were really implementing your strategic plan every day and operationalizing your strategic plan.
Well, and you're talking to the executive. So part of it is coming up with a plan, but the other part of it has to be, how do I communicate that to my people?
Exactly.
Right? Because we've run into the situation where we have staff, and then sometimes if you're not constantly communicating with them and letting them know, like if it's a 1-page document, even your staff knows exactly where you're going, what the intention is. Otherwise they think, oh, the boss is crazy, they're making us do something again. For what? If you don't know the for what, like if every single person doesn't know why they're there, what they're trying to do, or what they're trying to accomplish this quarter, it's going to be a big problem in trying to convince them, on top of trying to get other people to donate to this organization. So let's talk a little bit about that communication factor. And there's two folds to this. One is internally. Perfect time.
Whoops, before we get into that, the time is 19 minutes and 59 seconds. We interrupt today's regularly scheduled #1 podcast in San Diego for a purely selfish, completely irreverent, sell-out cash grab word from our sponsor. Hernan, what are we selling today?
Well, look, to be fair, since we got a nonprofit thing, I think I'm going to go with the promo on the nonprofit side. Ladies and gentlemen, December 19th, It's All About the Kids. Go to it'sallaboutthekids.org or find them on Instagram. It's All About the Kids Charity, Twitter, It's All About the Kids. On December 19th, they're going to be doing we're going to be giving away shoes, and they're going to be doing some stuff to give away food to needy families. So if you guys have some time, maybe you guys have seniors in high school, some people who need some community service hours, this is going to be a great event to go to. So go check them out. It's allaboutthekids.org/feed-the-kids.
Cool.
Boom. There you go.
And now, back to the #1 podcast in San Diego, the Business Bros Pod.
All right. So we're going to talk about communication. So there was twofold that I was wondering about. What type of I'll start with one, and then we'll go into so one's internal, one's external.
Sure.
Okay, so the internal one is what kind of coaching, what kind of strategies do you have for your executives to communicate the entire plan, or are they part of the plan itself, so that everybody's on the same page? What kind of coaching do we do there?
So we start with that 1-page strategic plan. And so you have this simple document that you can give to anybody in the organization, and it has your core values, your core purpose, so your 3-year targets. So it has everything, and it's easy to look at and see pretty quickly. So you can distribute that. But then the other thing internally is with your leadership team is what we call meeting rhythms. So actually with a leadership team, we recommend a daily huddle. So anything from 5 to at the very most 15 minutes every day, but the leadership team or the team that you manage gets together and they talk about what their top priority is for the day, what good news, and then if they're stuck. And it's amazing what just those simple things helps the communication in the organization. But you start there, then there's weekly meetings, monthly meetings, quarterly meetings, all with systemized specific agendas to accomplish things so that you're communicating effectively throughout the organization.
And we're not talking like hours of meetings here.
No, we're talking about really succinct meetings with specific purposes, some for education and training, others to focus on operational problems. So particularly taking what the stuck item is from the weekly or from the daily huddle, and then at your weekly meeting that's where you talk about if there's a stuck item that several people are all stuck on the same item. It's like, ooh, we got to fix that fast. So then to be able to focus on that specific stuck item at that weekly meeting. But no, short, succinct, and all with a specific agenda and a specific purpose.
I like that. Because I always try to get enough information because I'm going to steal some of that and use it in my own company.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next, communication with outside. What kind of stuff, in your experience, have you done that works well with helping organizations raise awareness, raise funds, do simple projects like the shoe drive? What's been working in your experience for those sorts of things?
So I would say that it's really about having a website, getting on podcasts, and I think really what I've learned, and something that took us a long time to learn, is to focus on public relations. That nonprofits kind of, you have a limited amount of financial resources. And so you're like, oh, I can't really afford to, do the PR stuff. But what I've learned over the last couple of years in particular is that has huge benefits, because then more people that are out there and know about you, the more people are going to have referrals for services, fundraising is going to come in, you're going to have more people at your events. So it's really important to carve out money and to work with a public relations firm who's an expert and has the connections. So I would say that was my kind of the big aha for me, and really the most effective way to communicate out to the right people in the community.
How important has it been to build like an email database, for example?
Oh, huge. And today's Giving Tuesday. And so to be able to, do live Facebook things, email out, now Options for All and many nonprofits don't really do a paper newsletter anymore. They do it all electronically. So to have a database of donors and prospects and people interested in the organization that you can communicate with via email is critical.
It's that way in business too.
Yep.
That was the main question.
Yes, of course.
It's one of those things that I've noticed in any industry, that email database, the ability for you to constantly communicate and stay top of mind is huge. And I had imagined it was the same way as a nonprofit.
Of course.
But I wanted to get some clarification, of course.
Well, and what you're going to find is pretty much all of the best business practices apply to nonprofits. And I think sometimes nonprofits forget that, but and I had a mentor who said to me, no money, no mission.
That's true.
Yep. And so the more effective we were at running an effective business, the more money we had to do our good works and to be able to help our constituents and provide more services.
Yep. And that is what it comes down to. It is a resource. Last little example before we get into the Ask the Bros section. My mom runs a food bank in her church, and one of the stores locally elected her food bank to be the recipient of some funds, and so they raised some money, and she got confirmation on the phone. Hey, thanks. We raised this much money. And she heard it was $800, and she was like, you know what? Thanksgiving's coming around the corner. Would we be able to get some turkeys using that $800? And the lady's like, no, not 800, 3,800. They were able to give away 180 turkeys at her food bank, and that was super impressive. But it comes down to the same type of thing. They're turkeys. They cost money.
Right.
No money, no mission.
No turkeys.
No turkeys. So, having that ability to raise those funds and reach out to the community members and stay top of mind and be effective communicator, all great things. And of course, it comes down to, if you have no idea, you need to be coached with people who have been able to do it. Why reinvent the wheel when someone's already done it?
Right. Exactly.
All right. Ask the Bros. You ready?
All right. I am ready.
Okay. So while you think of a question real quick, I'm going to remind our listeners, guys, thank you very much for the 365 pairs of shoes. Plus, if you guys have any other shoe donations that you want to make before the end of the year, hit James up 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. Remember, we're in the insurance business, so if you guys need any help with your insurance, home, auto, commercial, workers, comp, general liability, whatever you need, we're here to help you. We also want to add insurance into your business. Maybe you have a mortgage office, tax office, something like that. We want to help you increase your bottom line. We'll do all the heavy lifting, but you got to find out how. So hit James up 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. Show sponsors CasanovafishTacos.com. Make sure you guys go there for all your catering needs. Stop by there. Go to CasanovafishTacos.com. Let them know that the Business Bros sent you. They'll add a little bonus to your package, and we appreciate it. Plus, if you're going to have a catering of Casanova Fish Tacos, I wouldn't mind an invite. James, you want to eat some tacos?
Yeah,
just saying.
Especially those.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. All right, you ready?
I am ready.
Ask away.
All right. So my first question is, what would you say, the top three for each of you, top three business wisdom that you've learned by doing your podcast?
Ooh. I think one of the biggest wisdoms I've learned is the ability to ask questions of somebody else. That's for me the number one thing that has made the difference, because we talk about all the time. Like, you guys listeners don't get to hear before the show, but before the show, I don't like to ask our guests anything because I want to get to know them on the show. So it's one of those awkward moments where I talk about myself. But if we have a conversation in public and it's all about me, that's a very boring conversation. So I've learned to ask somebody else about themselves. That's my number one. You want to go with your number one?
Sure. My number one is getting out in front of people and telling them what exactly it is that I do, which we've gotten better and better at here on the podcast, and I've gotten better outside of here as well.
I think number two for me is going to be actually being able to ask for that close. Like, I think that's been one of those, I could bring you value, I can bring you product, I can bring you service, but then asking for the money, that's always been that awkward part. Now it's like there's very little that I feel intimidated about because I'm on camera every day.
Yeah.
There's very little that I worry about saying because I make a fool of myself anyway. So I've become okay with just asking.
Cool.
Number two for me is the power of social media. It's been growing and growing and growing, and probably one of the coolest things that happened was our last parody over at the Casanova Fish Tacos. We walked in and people already knew the song. Like that was
fun.
really cool.
That was fun.
Yeah.
So they heard it from your podcast.
They heard it because we released it to the small group. So it was a Casanova Fish Tacos. They have an underground taco club. So it's a small Facebook group of people that go once a month to the location, because otherwise it's catering. So once a month he has it at a specific location. And so we shared it there saying, hey, we're going to go and film the video that day. When we got there were people who already knew the song, singing along. It was awesome. It was totally surreal.
The power of social media.
The power of social media. And then my last thing for me, I think, was consistency. I've done this. And I put it out there that we're going to do this every single day. And we've committed to it. And being able to commit to something on a long-term basis makes you that much better at whatever it is that you're doing.
I'm going to say the last one is the difference between marketing and branding. I think that's what it is, right? Where marketing is the process of putting out a bunch of information, but branding, that's the long term. Who are you? What do people know of you? What do people expect of you? Branding is the long game. It's long play. Whereas marketing is, we could do that in short bursts, looking for specific things.
Wow. Great.
It's been some pretty good stuff.
I can apply them to my business and to my, the people I'm going to be coaching. I love it.
Absolutely.
Great. Wow.
By the way, and I'll tell you guys, because I'll tell the listeners too, you came here because of Corey Anderson. Corey Anderson's one of our insurance agents. And we tell all the people that we've talked to, use our podcast as a value add. So if you have any coaching clients and you have who are on the fence and you need to get them on somewhere, give them a little bit more exposure. So I'm opening it up to you to invite them on the show.
Awesome.
All right.
Ooh, an extra little bonus
An
I can
extra
offer.
bonus.
I like it.
Any value we can add at any time. All right, Nancy, why don't you look into this camera right here. Tell people how to get a hold of you to use your services.
Okay, so the best way is to call me or text me 619-253-8337, or you can reach me at nancy@resultsimproved.com.
I always like that, by the way.
Oh wait, is it results improved with a D?
Yes.
Oh man, I had just results improved without the D.
All right, ladies and gents, we're going to change that.
That's going to be changed.
All right. Well, Nancy, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. This is fun.
This is always cool. Like I said, what other medium do you get to meet somebody every single day?
Yeah, really.
It's the best one.
I think you might have inspired me to think about doing my own podcast.
You should.
Maybe not every day.
Maybe not every day. There, and here's what I tell people all the time. All you got to do is pretty much get past episode 7. Because that's your commitment level. Most people don't get past episode 7 because I'm going to do it once a month. I'm going to do it once a week. Something comes up and it kind of falls off. So commit, like anything else, put it in your schedule. Once it's in your schedule, once it's in your calendar, it exists. It's going to happen and do it.
Cool.
And if you have any questions, by the way, let me know. I'll talk to you about equipment and software and all that stuff you need. It's pretty easy to set up these days.
Cool.
All right, ladies and gents. Thank you guys very much. That's all we got for you guys today. Peace.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And we're out.
All right. Good
Bye,
night,
Facebook.
Facebook.
Wow.
Appreciate you.
It goes